Well, thank you all for your time and attention today. I'm going to talk with you guys about the benefits of being an engaged or an involved alum. My name is Andrea Lyons. I'm serving in an interim role right now as Assistant Vice Chancellor for Alumni Affairs, and I'm hoping at some point soon that will become a permanent role for me because I really do enjoy what I do. I'm also an alumnus of UTC. Before we get started, of course, you've probably seen this if you've been participating in the Mind the Gap conference, just an overview of what we hope to accomplish in helping you on your journey to professional and career development. We'll have some questions at the end of the presentation that I would like to ask you. But of course, feel free to ask me. Since it's kind of intimate, you're more than welcome to ask verbally, or if you want to put it in the chat, that's totally up to you. And we'll continue on from there. But I'm excited to be a part of this. I wanted to begin by telling you a little bit about my alumni story. Okay, there I am, December 1990, bright-eyed, ready to take on the world. But if you'll notice, there's probably almost a 30-year gap between getting my bachelor's degree here at UTC and coming back to getting my master's degree. I am speaking not as an alumni engagement professional, but as a formerly disengaged alumnus. There wasn't a whole lot of UTC in between 1990 and 2018, to be perfectly honest. In, I think, the late 90s, maybe 99, I was invited to come back. They were starting a group called the Gold Council, Graduates of the Last Decade. But at that point, I aged out almost as quickly as I joined. So there wasn't a whole lot of activity there, but it was fun while it lasted. And then there was another break. There's not a whole lot going on until about 2013. I ran into another friend who was also a UTC graduate. They were exhibiting at an event for the Chattanooga alumni chapter. And I'm like, oh, I had no idea there was a UTC alumni chapter. And they had these really cool pins that I'm going to show you quickly. These were pins that they offered, and it has the Power C and the alumni at the bottom. And I picked the pin up, I put it on, and as I was walking around the event, other people who happened to be UTC alumni who I did not know were coming to me and saying, hey, you're a UTC grad, I'm a UTC grad, where'd you get that pin? And there was this networking event that just began to happen kind of organically. But that was my initiation or re-initiation back into getting involved with UTC. Got involved that way, and eventually, because of my connections, ended up not wanting to just be involved with UTC, but wanting to work for UTC and wanting to help other alumni like me realize the fact that there's more to this than just saying that's where I got my diploma. So that's a little bit about my story. And now working in alumni affairs, just a quick update on what we do. Our job, I sum it up by the acronym ESP. We engage alumni. We try to provide meaningful events and programs. We support the university's goals and mission and initiatives. And we promote lifelong relationships with the university. Why is that important? What's the benefits of all that? Well, there are several ways that alumni can serve. And I think you may be surprised to find out how many that they are. And here are some of the key roles, and I want to take time to go through each of these. Serving as either advisors or mentors, community ambassadors, and I'll break that down and tell you what we mean by that. Student recruiters, which actually is a lot more important than you might think. Legislative advocates, which is something that most people don't realize that alumni can help with. And last, but certainly not least, donors. So advisors and mentors. Now, some of you may have a mentor if you're a UT Promise student, which I think actually began with the freshmen and sophomores. But you may have a mentor, someone who's helping you, but you yourself may have not thought about being a mentor to someone. Here are some ways that you can help. Staying in touch with your professors. They are a great resource for helping you to connect with jobs, to connect with professional networks, but also you're providing a great resource to them. For example, you may be able to offer to speak to a class within your major, providing a little more insight. You can serve on an advisory board. Maybe there's a class or a program that could really use some updating. And from a student's perspective, you can provide that information as a resource. Again, as an alumnus, you will be invited to be a UT Promise mentor, which I've started doing that. And I love having that opportunity to serve with the young lady from Memphis, who I'm currently mentoring. There are job shadowing opportunities where once you have your job, there's an opportunity for you to bring a current student in to either let them see what you do, or maybe under this virtual environment, to be able to maybe have a Zoom meeting with them. And then of course, if your job or place of employment has internship or part-time work openings, to be able to share that information back. So sharing resources is always a great opportunity. Being a community ambassador, wearing the blue and gold goes a long way, especially in this community. Not a lot of people know this, but we have about 66,000 active alumni. Of that number, about 34,000 still live within an hour's drive of campus. That's pretty significant. We would love to see a lot more blue and gold out in that community. So that's one way to show your pride for your university. Attending or supporting our athletics department and athletic events is a great way. Following UTC on social media, and then not only that, but sharing that information with your sphere of influence is a great way to be a community ambassador for UTC. Of course, things like attending homecoming, that's without saying. Participating in alumni events, which I will share with you in the next slide. And this is something that you may consider as well. Joining or starting an affinity group. Honors College started an affinity group for honors alumni, and it just kind of happened organically. Physical therapy, the Black Alumni Council, again, they kind of started organically, some common bond. And if you see that there's a need and there's a group of alums with a certain affinity or a certain connection, that would benefit from coming together and collaborating as a group, that's certainly something we would welcome, because we can't be everywhere all the time. I mentioned about attending an alumni event. Right now, with this virtual world that we're in, everything it has to go online. So we came up with Mox on Demand. That is our virtual suite of online events and webinars. We have the live events like what we're doing now, and then we record them and post them on our website. We've, since May of last year, we've covered career development. Of course, we partner a lot with the Center for Career and Leadership Development, health and wellness. We've had academic presentations. We're doing something later in February called Meet the Coaches, where people will have an opportunity to chat with their coaches. That was normally a live event, but we have kind of pivoted and made that an online and virtual event as well. So those are some of the things that we want our alumni to know about and get involved with. Some of the programs and organizations that you may find of interest: the University of Tennessee Alumni Association, UTAA. This is the alumni association for all UT graduates, no matter what campus you graduated from, Chattanooga, Knoxville, Memphis, it doesn't matter, Martin. This overarching group has a tremendous amount of benefits that you can find online, and I'll share our website where you can go and look at those benefits. The UTC Alumni Board of Directors, for this campus, that is the overarching governing board that helps us they hold us in Alumni Affairs accountable for the work that we do, governance, accountability, transparency, making sure that we're covering our goals and meeting the needs of our alumni. Of course, as I mentioned, alumni chapters. We have chapters in Chattanooga, Cleveland, Nashville, Knoxville, Memphis, and Atlanta. We're looking at possibly starting one in the Washington, D.C., Maryland area. We've had quite a bit of interest from people wanting to get together. So these chapters, they are funded in large part by our office. The affinity groups are a little bit different. They, as I said, they form organically and they kind of operate on their own, but we recognize and support them as well. The Gold Academy, or the Gold Council, graduates of the last decade. As recent graduates, you all certainly fall into that category. The council is charged with coming up with groups specifically for this demographic, activities that would appeal to a younger graduate. The Gold Leadership Academy is kind of like a Leadership Chattanooga or protege type event organization. You have to apply, you go through a process. Actually, Mark is a member of the Gold Leadership Academy. And basically it's a development tool to help you understand the backside of, you were a student. Now you're getting to see how the university operates in different areas, what Alumni Affairs does, what fundraising is all about, who funds UTC, getting to talk with the deans of different colleges, maybe someplace a different college than the one you graduated from. So getting that leadership experience, and then at the end of that, it's an 8-month program. At the end of the program, there's a capstone project that the members of the group break off into different factions, and they have a different area of UTC that they are focused on in helping to maybe solve a problem or to create a resource for that area through the Gold Leadership Academy. So maybe something to consider for next year. This is our first cohort, and they will graduate in April, and we'll begin again in September in the fall. So keep that in mind as well. And then our Legends and Leaders Awards. These are for some of our alumni who have gone on to do some amazing things. We have a Distinguished Alumnus Award. One of our recent winners was the chief editor-in-chief, rather, of the LA Times, Devon Maharaj. We have a Service Award, and we have a brand new one, an Outstanding Young Alumni Award. So this is something to keep in mind. You'll see notices go out asking for nominations. So we will do that during Founders Week in the fall. Let's go on to a few more things while I have time. Student recruiters. This is something that it actually helps tremendously, because the more students we have coming to UTC, of course, that helps with funding and being able to supply more resources to those students. So by helping to identify top performers and tell them about your experience, getting them to maybe come take a tour, helping UTC students find a job with your current employer, as I mentioned earlier, all of that makes a huge difference. This next one, number 4, legislative advocates. You may not think that you maybe know someone necessarily who is a state legislator or who is close to, but every person in Nashville who's a legislator, they go to church with somebody, their kids went to camp, they played Little League with somebody. You may be surprised to know that your sphere of influence is actually closer to a legislator than you realize. If this is an area of interest, there is an advocacy network that UT has formed. And it's just a matter of being able to let legislators know these are areas that are important to our campus, important to our university. And when you vote on it, maybe you don't know all the details. Here's what's going on. And it's not necessarily asking you specifically to go and lobby per se. That's not the issue. But being able to show that you actively know what's going on and that you want your voice heard and represented through UT and through UTC. So that's where that stands. And those are some resources there. If you can go back and look at those if you're interested in that. And then the last one on the list, donors, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's like, oh, you only want to keep up with me because you want my money. And I hope that I can give you a different perspective of that. And the image is there. This is how I perceive it, because like I said, for almost 30 years, I was not involved. I certainly wasn't giving my money, and I'm just being honest. When I did begin to get involved, it was because there was something that tugged at my heart. It was near and dear to my heart. This resonated with me. In addition to being a graduate, I was also a member of a show choir called the Singing Mocs. Anytime Dr. Draper called us back, I was right there. So if I could give and be a resource for that, I was there. That was near and dear to my heart. I may not have had a lot of money, especially as a recent graduate, but I had time. I had resources. I was glad to be able to support. And all of that is part of being a donor. It doesn't always mean money, like Gary Rollins gave $40 million to the College of Business. That's awesome. Gifts like that are amazing, but it's not what it's all about. Being able to, if you're a 20-year-old giving your first $20 gift, that makes a difference. Actually, it's the smaller sustaining gifts that mean more, because they are continuing. Those large gifts, at some point, those are going to run out. But the smaller sustaining gifts do make a difference. So I hope by saying that puts a different spin on it, that it's not just about keeping in touch with you so that we can ask for money, but it's keeping you aware of what's going on with UTC. And if you choose to get involved in some way that's near and dear to your heart, or to give back, or to give of your finances, that is totally up to you. So I hope that's a slightly different take on donors. And then here are some of the benefits that I'd like to share with you of being an engaged alum. As I mentioned, the UT Alumni Association has a plethora of benefits, from places like enterprise rental car. If you enter a code, you get a discount off of your car rental. That's just one example. Biltmore Estates, they give a percentage off. And there are countless other services and retailers throughout the country that just by showing your ID card, and now there is a virtual ID card that is actually pretty cool. You, as a recent graduate, you probably haven't seen this yet, but you will very soon. And it's actually, I'm trying to pull it up if I can quickly here in my wallet on my phone, but it actually just being able to show that and on campus, I think at the bookstore, you get a 10% discount. Any of the eating places around here, you get a discount on campus. Using the library, being able to use your ID card, it definitely has some perks there. ARC, as an alumnus, you can become a member of the ARC. A lot of folks aren't aware of that. And we've actually, as we started promoting and doing events at the ARC for alumni, we've seen the membership increase because a lot of folks didn't know, they just thought it was for students. So that's an opportunity. Your Mox email address, you keep that forever. That is yours. That's signed up through Gmail. And you may get an email from time to time asking you to maybe update your email, your password, but the email address is yours. Now, I will say this, if that is not an email address that you check regularly, you may want to update your information on our website, and I'll show you that website in a minute. Professional networking. I have met so many cool people as a member of not only our alumni chapter when I was a member of the chapter, but also meeting the alumni board. When we have networking events where we used to do before COVID, we had an alumni networking breakfast. And that was a great way for people to get together in the morning in a non-intrusive way and just kind of meet each other, meeting people from your college, some people have met their spouses here at UTC, which is really cool. Future collaborations, and of course, an opportunity to build your personal brand. If there is a particular area of interest that you want to get in front of a group of people that might be able to help you, connecting through alumni events is a great way. And last, of course, but certainly not least, paying it forward, either of your time, your talent, or your resources. Those are some great ways to get involved. So finally, like I said before, if you check your email, your Mox email, we will certainly be reaching out to you because that's the one we have on file. If that's not one that you're going to check regularly, we would suggest that you update your email address. And you can certainly follow us on social media. Those are our social media handles. And you can go back and look at this because it is being recorded. And I did want to try to show you this if I can. I don't know, that's kind of what it looks like, the digital card that you can download to your phone or upload to your phone. And then of course we do make the hard copy. So those are some of the things that I wanted to share with you guys. And in the time that we have left, I would love to either entertain any questions that you may have of anything that you've seen that I've shared with you, or just put a question out to you. As a recent graduate or as a graduate of UTC, what are you most interested in? What resource could we share with you that maybe we are not sharing, or maybe you're not aware that we're sharing?
Well, I think you shared a lot that I was not aware of, so I really appreciate that. Because I don't know what I didn't have any expectations, but I did not know how many resources you all were providing for us. So that this is really cool to find out and see what I can get involved in. It kind of, as a follow-up question though, I was going to ask for those alumni chapters. Are those specifically for UTC or UTAA?
UTC.
Okay.
It's odd that you should mention that. When I first started working here, they had what they call network chapters, which allowed any person, if you lived in Memphis, but you were a member, you're an alum of Knoxville, or you were a member of Chattanooga or Martin, that was a network chapter, no matter what campus you graduated from. Those kind of dissipated. So now the chapters are strictly for UTC. So our chapter is UTC alums, Knoxville, Chattanooga alums, Memphis, Chattanooga alums. So.
Got you. And so if we wanted to get involved in a chapter, I think you mentioned a couple locations, but for instance, if I wanted to get involved in a UTC chapter in Nashville when I got back to Nashville, is that, do y'all have like, are there like LinkedIn groups that you can join, or what does that look like, I guess,
Well,
practically?
I'm glad you mentioned that. We are getting ready next month to launch a UTC alumni LinkedIn network for all this
Okay, cool.
alumni. In Nashville in particular, we are kind of in a rebuilding stage with our chapter.
Yeah.
We had one chapter, but they were the alumni were so spread out, it was really difficult for them. So we're kind of working on different sections, like maybe a Midtown Nashville, a Franklin, a Williamson County chapter. You know, we're kind of breaking it up a
Okay.
little bit to make it a little easier. So when you graduate,
Yeah.
when you're ready to connect, we'll have those in place for you. So it's odd that you should focus on Nashville because that's the one that we're kind of restructuring. But all of our other chapters are intact. Yeah. So, but yes, please keep my information is there. I would love to be able to connect you with some alumni there when you're ready. And then, of course, I would encourage both of you, if you're interested, to consider the Gold Leadership Academy or Gold Council. Because of technology now, we're able to, I think there are several people on the Gold Leadership Academy who live outside of Chattanooga. So wherever you live, that's no longer an issue, really. We're willing to work with you and make it as accommodating as possible. So.
Okay, thank you.
I'll add, just since we're talking about the Leadership Academy, my group, so the capstone is due in April, but we've been working on it like the whole time. Yeah. And so it's this kind of cool like project to be able to bring us together and give us a common goal to be working on as a subgroup. But ours is talking about diversifying the enrollment of the graduate or the honors college. Yes. And in talking with the honors college, what was really interesting was we discovered that it's not really a diversity problem within the honors college, because they're just made up of people from colleges all around the university. What we're finding is that diversity enrollment in the university is down because we are lacking diversity in faculty and staff representation. Mm-hmm. Students don't attend classes here because they don't see themselves in the people who are teaching them. And so now we're having to discuss this larger issue of how do we improve diversity hiring on campus so that we can then improve diversity recruitment so that then it's reflected in the honors college. So it's these really interesting things that we're getting to work on and hopefully make a difference for the institution.
Yeah. So yeah, the people, they got a chance to hear from the deans of each college early on, and in asking the question, what are some areas that you would like to see improved? This is where these projects have come from for the Gold Leadership Academy. So I'm interested, really excited, looking forward to seeing what these capstone projects are going to be. And then moving forward with the next cohort, I think for our first one, we had probably 30 to apply. And now out of that, we were able to choose 17 or 18. And they seem to be enjoying themselves. Mark, I will assume that you're enjoying the process.
Yes.
So, but yeah, like I said, you may not have the question burning right now, but at some point, if you think of something or you have a question, our alumni webpage rather is listed there, alumni.utc.edu. My information, my office extension is 2345, which you can't get much better than that, and remembering an extension. But yes, I'm always willing to talk with alumni. For example, tonight we have an event. We're doing a meal planning class with an alum who is a caterer. And we had about 100 people to sign up for this. And we're giving away an apron that has the C alumni on it to some of the participants. So we try to do a variety of things. We've done virtual trivia, which we will do again. So just a variety of things, of different topics to, we'll see what sticks and we'll go from there. So, but I think my time is just about up, but I want to thank you, Shannon and Braden, so much for sharing a little bit of this time. And if I gave you a little information that you didn't already have, great. But be sure to reach out to us anytime you have questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And I'll see you guys for the next session.